We are back on Take Action News. This is RJ Eskow, Richard Eskow, and we have a new guest for you. You know, I met Alex Lawson years ago. By the way, I should announce Alex Lawson is the Executive Director of Social Security Works. He's also the owner of We Act Radio, and We Act Social Security Works is our sponsor, so this may not be the most grueling interrogatory interview you've ever seen, or it may be, just to prove our bona fides. Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Richard.
Hey, listen, here's the thing I keep thinking about. We want to update the Social Security situation a little bit, and here's the thing that I keep going through, and it came up when I wrote my year-end post about Social Security. Is it my imagination, or at least in terms of public opinion, was this a pretty great year for Social Security? Because when you and I first met, all we ever did night and day, it seems, all of us who were involved in the Social Security issue, was fight to save it from draconian cuts, and we're still doing that, but now there seems to be a serious dialogue about expanding it, and there seems to be a growing movement to resist cutting it. Is that, in your opinion, because you're there and you're closer to it, is that a good read of the situation?
I think that's a spot-on read of the situation. I think that, work that Social Security Works, your work, and the work of our partners and allies around the country with a single vision has marched us from where we were to where we are. And I would go even a little bit further on the where we were. There was basically a bipartisan consensus 3 years ago that Social Security cuts were going to happen, and it was a done deal. And even some of our allies who hated the idea of Social Security cuts, but they were basically saying, but it's a done deal. There's nothing we can do to fight back. Like all we can do is try to make the cuts as small as possible. But, this is a dynamic system, and a lot of us have seen this sort of conventional wisdom. And the way it works is first the conventional wisdom says something is a done deal, and then they go and try to figure out the details to get the deal done. So, throwing a monkey wrench in it at every turn was our goal, our short-term goal. But our long-term goal was always to change the conversation, to stop only fighting, to not at all accept the fact that we had to fight over how big the cuts to Social Security were. But we wanted to change it to, the conversation completely changing. I shorthand it now. I say, my goal is for some one of our partners or allies, hopefully it's you, RJ, on one of the Sunday shows, and I want somebody to say this. I want them to say, look, everybody knows that we have to expand Social Security. The question is just how much.
Yeah, I love that because, look, let's face it. I mean, guys like us 3-4 years ago, and remember 4 years ago when the president was preparing his State of the Union, we had to fight like hell to make sure that the cuts weren't in that State of the Union. I think we were treated kind of like skunks at the dinner party. I think the idea was, this is decided, you guys are getting in the way, you guys don't understand how things work. And I think that has really changed. I hope it changes to the extent that you describe. I hope it changes in the way you describe, selfishly speaking. But what's the next step? We've gotten Elizabeth Warren and others to advocate expansion. Tom Harkin has his bill to expand Social Security, but there's still all this talk about cutting it. You still hear it described as if, of course, we have to do it on NPR or Martha Raddatz or whomever. What do? We got more battles ahead, and what are the next 2 or 3?
I think, the president's budget will most likely include the chain CPI again, but we need to make a lot of noise around that one. This is a short-term fight, and we're working with Senator Sanders. He's now got 14 senators on a letter to the president saying remove the chain CPI from your budget. I think it's a long shot that it's not in there. If it's not in there, then we should crow that victory as loudly as possible. If it is in there, then we need to use that to double down and spend 2014 really just we've advanced our position forward. We need to spend 2014 really making sure that we own that ground that we've moved forward on. So we need to really make the expansion message just take hold all across the country. And 2014 is the greatest year to do that. Election years are magical years for regular old Americans. All of a sudden, their elected officials really care about what their opinions are. They have all sorts of venues for people to show up to and talk about what they care about. And we need to spend 2014 taking advantage of the magical powers of democracy to make our elected officials understand just how strongly we feel about expanding Social Security.
Well, there will be town halls during the summer. There are opportunities to email all along the way. So it sounds like right now at this moment people are kind of waiting to see what happens next Tuesday with the initiative. But we've also got the Harkin bill out there. We've also got Senator Begich's bill from Alaska. We've got Elizabeth Warren speaking up on this issue. Is there anything we can do to backstop those efforts?
Oh, I think that the efforts to expand the pool of folks on the Begich-Harkin bill and the House companion bill, those have to be ongoing. We have to just keep building that pool. They work together. As we're going to town halls and raising our voices, you're going to see that more and more people want to sign on to these bills to let their constituents know what side of the fight they're on. And this is something that we are taking this message around as widely as possible, that with the words strengthen, preserve, protect, all the water is so muddied about where people are on Social Security that really the only way to be super clear is to get on the expansion message. That's the way that you can tell the folks that you represent, this is for decision makers, what side of the fight they're on.
Well, where do people go to get more information?
So if you go to socialsecurityworks.org, we've got a ton of information about the latest fights, about our long-term strategy. You can sign up a petition around the Harkin-Begich bill and stay informed that way. And there's going to be a lot of action this year. It's going to be a really exciting year. So hopefully, folks go to socialsecurityworks.org. I hope that they continue to tune in and listen to you as a conduit of right information around this issue and so many others.
Well, thanks so much. We've been talking with Alex Lawson, who is Executive Director of Social Security Works. Alex, keep up the great work, and we will be continuing to fight for Social Security, which is at the heart of the American social contract and must not be cut. I'm Richard Eskow, and we'll be back with another hour. We'll be talking about education reform, the flaws of charter schools. Stick with us on Take Action News. We have a great hour coming up. We'll be right back.